How's it going, everybody? I am the Texas Man. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous day. Please give this video a thumbs up if you guys really enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys have not already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, hit that bell notification button so you guys don't miss out on future videos or streams here on the Texas Man channel. With that, I'm continuing reading throughout The Island, and this is going to be part number 4. This will be the fourth and final part of the read-through of this book. Make sure you guys check out part 1, part 2, and of course part 3 before continuing this video. Check out those videos. Make sure you guys are all caught up with the story. This will of course be part 4, the final part here of this Island book. After this part, I will be continuing on with the Island trilogy, starting up with The Island 2, The Creature. Hope you guys all enjoy. And with that, let's get into it. Chapter 6, Razor Reef. Roar! All of my group, the 15 terrorists and I, looked to see Spike, eating the 5 terrorists guarding the entrance to the bunker. I don't know how I'm supposed to make an anaconda sound. I'm sorry, guys. Move, men, said Thomas, releasing Chris and allowing the group to escape. Look, Jack, said Nick. Not only was Spike here, but so was the lengthy anaconda. The group picked up their machine guns and bolted inside of the bunker. The terrorists were being eaten left and right. Everybody made it safely inside of the bunker, but I remained. Help me, said Thomas to me. Spike was right behind him, and the anaconda was busy eating on the last few terrorists. I closed the bunker door and walked towards the rest of the group, but I had forgotten to lock the main door. I could hear the sound of Thomas being eaten alive. I even had to cover Chris's eyes from the small trail of blood creeping underneath the bunker's door. Jack, we found it, said John. I pushed the group to see the amazing sight of Sue's time machine. Computers were scattered all over the floor. Empty glass containers were stacked near a side of a wall. There was even a food pantry filled with microwave meals and 2 liters of Mountain Dew. In a back corner, I found something that I and the rest of the group had missed for the past 5 days. Something Americans take advantage of each day. Something we thought we would never see again, especially on this island. A roller with paper and a toilet. We each took a turn using the restroom, but John and I were first so we could try out the time machine with the new battery. I sat down on a chair and pulled up to the main control panel, pressed a blue button, and all of the glass containers opened up. Then I inserted the pentagonal battery into the main computer. I told John that once the other 4 members of the group arrived, that I would activate the time machine on a time setting to allow the machine to start without me at the control panel. This would allow me to be inside of a container to travel also. I set the time machine for April 1st, 1996, and saw that everybody had returned from using the restroom. I forgot to lock the door, I said. You did what? You allowed the anaconda to come inside, said Bobby. Looks like we have to delay using the time machine, I said. Shoot at the head. It's its weak spot, said Nick, being a scientist. Watch the upper levels, said John. All six of us had adrenaline racing in us as we had a machine gun in our hands and an anaconda seeking its next meal. How many doors lead to this room? I asked to John. 12. 10 on the main level, 2 on the upper level, said John. Form a circle, I said. He knows that we are here and that we are prepared to kill him, said John, being a hunter. Look, said Chris. What is it, boy? I asked. I saw his shadows over there, said Chris, pointing to an open door. John and I were side by side in the circle and realized that his shadow's location meant that he was on the upper level. The anaconda jumped down from the upper level, attempting to land on all 6 of us, but John and I blasted the gigantic snake in the head. The anaconda's body slid into the main computer with a loud boom. John walked slowly towards the anaconda to check if it was still alive, and determined it was dead. We have a bigger problem, I said. You're right, Jack. There's no way it'll work now, said John. What's the problem, and what won't work? Asked Sawyer. The Anaconda's body weighs unknown pounds, and so assembling this body into the main computer will not allow for the time machine to properly function, I said. Then what do we do to escape this island? Asked Nick. I thought about our next move and remembered something Chad told us all. Chad said the terrorists have only come ashore, could have only come on shore by either boat or helicopter, I said. If we can locate what they used to land here, we can use it to travel to the carrier, take it over, and return home, I continued. The group agreed that it was now the only way to escape the island. We passed through Polar Mountain and continued onwards to Beach Base, believing that the boat or helicopter was near there. Through Polar Mountain we said our final goodbyes to Chad, the man that gave his life to save mine. The 6 of us piled back into the Jeep and began the drive back to Beach Base. We were getting closer to freedom from this island, but in my mind, Spike still posed a threat until we had truly left the island behind. About 5 hours passed before we stopped for a short meal. During the meal, John and I did a perimeter sweep and discovered that something we thought would take us days to locate was already there. John and I had found a boat with terrorist writing on the sides. We told the rest of the group the good news and boarded the boat fairly quickly. The boat was gas-powered, had 2 engines, a lower and upper level deck, and was very lengthy and wide. I ordered John to drive the boat to the carrier, since I had been driving the Jeep. I wondered if terrorists were left on board, but when we arrived, it was only those 20 terrorists that came to the island. That's right, the carrier was empty. This made our job much easier to leave, but the island still had one more battle for us to fight before we could leave her sight forever. The boat was strung tightly to the carrier, and then we all ran up to the command room. Start the engines and head northwest. That should put us in the direction towards America, I said. The engines were started, and I took the wheel to begin the course away from the island and to America. Suddenly, red lights began to flash, and a loud siren started sounding. What's the problem? I asked Bobby and Nick, looking at a screen. Spike and the octopus are coming towards us again, said Nick. How is Spike off the island alive? I asked. Spinosauruses have been known to breathe underwater, making him the most deadly dinosaur ever, said Bobby. John and Sawyer, get down to the torpedo room and load as many torpedoes as you can before those 2 creatures ram us and send the ship to its watery grave, I said. What about Chris? Asked Sawyer. He'll remain here with me for safety purposes, I answered. How long till they reach us, Nick? I asked. We have less than 6 minutes before they reach us, he answered. Chapter 7. It's real. John and Sawyer, you 2 better have some torpedoes loaded within the next 6 minutes, or else we're all going to drown, I said, over the carrier's comm. Jack, we have 2 minutes before they ram us, said Nick. Jack, we have 10 torpedoes ready to launch, said John in the torpedo room, using the comms. Lock onto the octopus with 5 torpedoes and fire when ready, Bobby, I said. The target is locked on and firing, Jack, said Bobby. Chris looked at Nick's screen and saw that the torpedoes were closing to their target, the octopus. Impact in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, said Nick. Kaboom! Direct hit. But Spike is still heading towards us, Jack, said Nick. I should have known that he would never let us leave the island alive, I said. Bobby, lock on and fire the other 5 torpedoes at Spike, I said. Ready, said Bobby. Fire, I ordered. 5 torpedoes in the water, said Nick. Impact in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark, said Nick. Not one sound was heard. What happened? Is Spike dead? I asked Nick. Jack, the torpedoes are still following him, and Spike is coming towards us still, said Nick. John and Sawyer, get up here. We are leaving, I said. Within seconds, all 6 of us were back inside of the boat and leaving the carrier. Jack, look, here he comes, said John. Why did we abandon the carrier, asked Sawyer. Would you like to be on board that thing if I had activated a bomb? I answered. Kaboom! It was done. The carrier sunk to its watery grave due to the impact of the torpedoes, and Spike was killed because of the bomb I activated. The six of us looked at the island to remember the events that took place there, such as the adventures that we had battling dinosaurs and titanic creatures, the mysteries that we discovered about the TEC, Sue and Flint, the terrorists, and the disappointment when we realized the time machine that Sue built would never work. We also remembered the lives that were lost on that island so that we could have a chance to live another day. The person that saved me was Chad from a polar bear on Polar Mountain. Lastly, before we left, we remembered the souls that died before ever reaching the island because they either were drowned in the plane or were eaten by a hungry shark. Tears rolled down my face when I looked towards the area where I thought the plane sunk to remember my wife Kate before she drowned in the plane. The engine of the boat started, and away we traveled towards America. We finally had done it. We had devised a plan to escape the island. Hours later, rescue helicopters found us and returned us back to American soil. We didn't inform the public about what happened when we crashed. All that we told to inform the media and the rest of the public was that only we survived after the crash. The group parted their ways, but I kept an eye on them to make sure they didn't try to tell others about what truly happened on the island. The reason I didn't want the rest of the world to know about this island was because I feared that people, just like the TEC, would try to use the island's magic powers for evil. John became a hunter and died in the year 2005 of a heart attack. Bobby and Nick used their science brains to discover 4 different cures for deadly diseases before passing away in 2007. Sawyer and Chris became closer as father and son. Sawyer eventually received a job at Cedar Point and died in 2006. Chris enjoyed the politics and became a senator in 2026. I, Jack, became a member of the United States Navy and eventually passed away in 2030. Zoom! All of a sudden, I, Jack, opened my eyes and looked around to see that I was in my bed with my wife Kate in a hotel. I awoke Kate to tell her the strange dream I had just had. We were on an island battling dinosaurs, terrorists, and other creatures. It seemed so real, I said. Was I there too? Asked Kate. Yes, but you drowned when the plane crashed. Crashed, I answered. When in your dream did the plane crash? Asked Kate. The plane crashed on June 23rd, 1996, I answered. It was just a bad dream. A really bad dream, said Kate. Yes, it was a bad dream, but it seemed so real. Like I was actually there on the island, I said. Get some sleep, Jack. We have a plane to catch tomorrow, said Kate. I returned to sleep, still considering what the dream could have meant. The next day arrived, and Jack and Kate prepared to arrive at New York City's airport to take a nonstop flight headed to the island of Madagascar. This trip was a part of the couple's honeymoon. While Kate was having security guards inspect her belongings, I, Jack, saw a man with a hunting license, 2 scientists with briefcases, a school teacher with a funny hat on his head, an ex-Air Force pilot wearing his old uniform, and a father with his 10-year-old little boy. Those were just some of the passengers that were boarding my plane that my wife and I would soon be with on Flight 193. Everything checked out okay with security, and eventually we both were on board, and everything that happened in the beginning of my dream was occurring all over again. I began to have air sickness just like before the plane crashed. My seatbelt was by a window, just like my dream. I walked into the restroom and took care of my private business, and was about to ask my wife to switch places with me. But then the plane hit some turbulence. It passed. I looked at the passengers' faces to see John with his box of knives, Sawyer's wife, his family, of which only Chris survived, and Bobby, Nick, Phil, and Ted talking to each other. I even saw James in the pilot room, driving the plane. The plane began to shake again, just like it did in my dream. Then I looked through a window to see an island and realized something terrible. I looked at my wife, Kate, to see her last smile, knowing she was about to drown. What did I realize? I realized that the dream I had was a dream, or what I call a nightmare of future events. So yes, my friend, the island, it's real. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day. I hope you guys all enjoyed that great ending. I'll see you guys in the next video for my book series, In the Island 2, The Creature. Bye, guys.